la Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome. Good evening. I think we're able to get one more outdoor service this 2021. Yeah. You can applaud. Yeah, we are.
I don't know, but this also keeps your hands warm.
It's not that bad. Just remember today when we're in January and February, and this is going to feel like a bombing, 60 degrees. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I should have worn my shorts. We are, as you can see, we're coming to you from our beautiful outdoor Beit Tefillah. I am Rabbi Javier Carapan, and I am joined by Leslie Zucker, our Mizmor Shir musicians. Look, wonderful crowd, group, troop, band.
Thanks everybody for showing up so that we have as many people out there as we have over here.
A little bit more out there
yes.
today.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Special thank you to our BOW committee for bringing us beyond our walls, and to our digital docents who are managing our streamings behind the scenes. If you are technically inclined and would like to join that wonderful group, please reach out to us and we'll put you in contact with the correct individuals. If you're joining us on Facebook, the prayer pages, PDF, and helpful links can be found in the comments. For those of you joining us on the virtual sanctuary, you can find all that information right above the player. On Facebook Live, please say hi by typing Shabbat Shalom in the comments line, and don't forget to hit return. For immediate technological help related to our service,
yes.
You can reach out to CVT's technical assistance line, TAL, and that number is 913-303-1134. One more time, 913-303-1134. I want to make sure that you write down that number because you may need it during the streaming this evening. And one of our docents will get back to you as soon as they can. For those of you joining us here in person, tonight's prayers can be found in the prayer card and in the handout. And a reminder to everybody to silence your electronic devices. And again, thank you for joining us this evening. Just want to say that this evening is a special evening. It's our Beit something, and this one is a Beit Tefillah. Some of us just had dinner together, Shabbat dinner. We're going to have a relatively short service, and after that, we'll spend time on a tefillah, on a prayer together, with lots of music and some learning. So after, it's about half an hour each. So we've done our half an hour of eating. Now, if you want more food or if you like some desserts and all that, please feel free just to walk up there and get it, or something to drink. You're welcome. You can move, though.
You all have to wait till after.
We continue our service on the prayer card at page number 1 with Baruch Hu. If you're able, please stand and join us, and we're facing that way for Baruch Hu. In the insert, but also on page number 1, you can find the words of our declaration of faith, the Shema, followed by this beautiful English version with music by Debbie Friedman.
Shema Yisrael.
Shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a symbol between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. At the top of the prayer card, page number 2, we join together in the words from Mi Chamocha. These are the words that our people sang as we crossed the Red Sea, the Sea of Reeds. And we repeat them, we sing them every Shabbat and every day actually, hoping, praying that redemption will come again. And we're reminding God, you did this once before, maybe you can do it again. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha medav hakodesh, norat leilot, oseh feled, malchutecha na'u banecha, bokei haya lifnei Moshe, this prayer always seems more relevant, more felt when we are really under the stars. Now, we are kind of under the canopy, but we're really under this canopy, this Sukkot Shalom, this shelter of peace. And I don't know, it's just different when you do this outdoors.
Yeah.
And we're singing a beautiful melody that our very own Leslie Zucker wrote. We welcome Shabbat together, mark this special Shabbat evening under the stars. I keep thinking about that. Are there any stars? Not yet. Oh. Oh.
Go out that way. So you're still behind the speaker. There you go. Oh, there's seeing
one.
stars.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I
Excellent.
trust you.
Yeah.
Oh, then it's Shabbat, and then we can sing V'shamru.
Sweet. V'shamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat L'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam V'shamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat L'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam Israel, Oti le'olam, V'shamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam, Berit Olam, V'shamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat, La'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam, Berit Olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz v'shamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam V'shamru b'nei Israel et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Berit Olam Vayom Hashvi'i Shabbat V'yinafash Shabbat V'yinafash V'shameru
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Get warm. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Lula livnei bneihem, L'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Chozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei metim atah Rav le'Hoshia, Mechalchel chayim bechesed, Mechayei metim berachamim rabim, Somech nofelim v'rofech cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Micha mocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'neiman atah lahachayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hametim, Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We continue with a silent prayer through the end of page number 3. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha,
Shalom, ki ata hu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Beto benecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha, Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. As we gather on this Shabbat, we offer prayer for those in need of healing. You may have access to the Mishe Berach list through the e-news that you received this morning. You can also follow the links in the comment. We also invite you at home to just type the names so we can all see them and hear in person. If you have any names, please.
Sean Ravel.
Thank you. Chris Gray. As we think of those in need of healing, at the top of page number 4, we join in the Mishe Berach prayer. We offer a prayer for those in need of healing. We also think and pray for those who help in healing health workers all over our world during this pandemic. May those who care for the sick with their hands, their voices, and their hearts be blessed with courage and stamina. May those who pursue healing through medical skill and knowledge be blessed with insight, patience, and compassion. And may all of us, the sick and the well together, find courage and hope so we can together say Amen. It is now time for our Simcha moment. If you would like to share a Simcha on the comments line, it's a joy from this past week, which may include birthday, anniversary, good news, and accomplishments. Please go ahead and begin typing. And I must say that this is our Simcha this week.
I was going to say this.
I was looking at the feed, and you can see us here in the little bubble of light, and then behind us you can see the moon, almost the full moon of Cheshvan is just appearing right behind us. So look at your feet now. There it goes. She's gonna show us. There it is.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, cameraman.
But for those of us here in person, we have our Simcha mic here in the middle of the light. So if you like to come up here and share a Simcha, we invite you to do so.
And they appear out of darkness with their joy.
I'm Judy, and I was just listening to what the rabbi said, and this is sort of a birthday, sort of an accomplishment, although it really has to be a passage of time. Should I start over? Okay, I'm Judy, and and I was listening to the rabbi, and this is sort of a joy and sort of an accomplishment, although I didn't do anything except let time pass. And some people consider it sort of a birthday. This past Tuesday, I celebrated 1 year from the last radiation treatment I had. And that also means that I can give blood next Wednesday at the blood drive.
Double yay and simchas for other people.
I can't even see the mic. I got this light in my eyes. I'm pretty close to it now. I'm Carol, and I think if I stand right here, I can block the light. For those of you who don't know, I'm the treasurer of the Greater Kansas City Hadassah. I said Carol. I did, really. Anyway, this week, the team put together the annual plan for 2022, and we had a great deal of help putting it into the format that we needed, but I did the finishing job and sent it off. And I was so pleased that it was a team effort.
My name is Micah. I hate public speaking, but Judy, you inspired me a couple weeks ago. I got off of my cancer medicine for good too, so I thought I'd share that.
Oh, Lord, they're not kidding. I will not walk towards the light. Carol and I are Simcha junkies, and we come up always. Thank you, Rabbi. And I don't want to hear any responses, but my positive thing and happy thing for the week is I turned in my taxes. Yes, I know. It's called an extension. They were due a long time ago. I'm paying interest. We all know that. But for me, it's an absolute relief. And I'm so thankful.
We all thank you, for. It's on the internet, so it's. Yeah, what people at home don't realize is that we have some new lights this time, because last time we did something like this and we were caught by the night. It was so dark.
It was so dark.
We were kind of like in the darkness. But today we're not. We're in the bright light. But we can't see anybody but the lights. But you can see us at home, and you can see us too. So it's like being on stage a little bit.
Very much.
So for today, I want to share with you one of my favorite poems. I realized that in 6 years I never mentioned this poet, and I'm like, why did you do that? If you really like her so much. So here it is. Her name is Else Lasker Schüler, and she lived in Germany, and she eventually in the 30s, because of Nazism, moved to Jerusalem, and there are lots of stories about her. she was what you would call a very eccentric lady, right? She has stories about like being the descendant of Queen Esther, all kinds of stories she told.
Oh.
So she's, I don't know, she's wonderful. And this poem is in the edition of the Women's Torah Commentary at the end of every Torah portion. And this one is about this week's Torah portion, which is Lech Lecha. But the end of Lech Lecha, chapter 16 and 17, especially 16, is really the story of Hagar and how Hagar is sent into the wilderness. And so this is her poem, and it's called in German Mein Freiheit, meaning my freedom. And this is kind of my translation, so I'm proud of it. Of my freedom, no one shall rob me. If I die somewhere along the way, dear mother, you will come and lift me on your wings to heaven. I know you were touched by my lonely wanderings, the playful tick-tock of my childlike heart. It sounds very good in German, but some of the
It
time.
sounds lovely in English as well.
Thank you. We now gather all our simchas that you have shared and offer a prayer. Divine source of blessings, we thank you for everything that enriches our lives. We turn to you now with gratitude as we share the happiness of those who have marked their birthday, anniversary, good news, and accomplishments. Adonai, be with them now and always. May they be blessed with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow, with much health and happiness. Bless them now and always. As we honor each one of you for the gifts that you bring to our sacred community, together we join in song as we mark this sacred occasion.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
In the middle of page number 4, if you're able, we invite you to rise and join us for Aleinu L'Shabeach.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה לעצב ראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Remain standing as we prepare for our moment of remembrance. We pause and offer a reflection. It's a poem by Laura Gilpin called Life After Death. These things I know, how the living go on living and how the dead go on living with them, so that in a forest even a dead tree casts a shadow, and the leaves fall one by one, and the branches break in the wind, and the bark peels off slowly, and the trunk cracks, and the rain seeps in through the cracks, and the trunk falls to the ground, and the moss covers it. And in the spring the rabbits will find it and build their nest inside the dead tree, so that nothing is wasted in nature or in love. As a congregation, we are observing the Shloshim for Sue Lynn Botwin Horwitz, member of our congregation, Jim Merrill, husband of Ellen Merrill and stepfather of Reagan Siegel, Werner Julius Burke, father and father-in-law of Jackie and Phil Hermanson, John L. Esser III, brother of Glenn Esser, George Zucker, father and father-in-law of Dave and Leslie Zucker. And on this Shabbat, we remember the Yorzites of Madeline Davidow, Mo Deitch, Shirley Deutsch, Sanford Dunn, Alan Effelbaum, Louis Alvin Fear, Gitlia Friedman, Minnie Goldman, Johnny Guy, Miriam Mickey Hamovitz, Frank Karasik, Bernard M. Krishover, Thani Ritmaster, Riva Rayavtseva, Aaron Rayavtsev, Sadie Sobol, Helen Supovsky, Emery Taylor, Harriet Tiven, Marilyn Waknov, Harriet Yedlin. Zichronam Livracha, may the memories be for a blessing. Page number 4, we join in Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Itgadal ve'itkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alema divrach chigute ve'amlich malchute, בחייכון ובמכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל ושמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דע אמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. We have some announcements. Aviva, wherever you are, come out to the light. This is Aviva Simon, Director of Member Engagement for our congregation.
There she is.
A little cold. Oh, Carol, you were not kidding. Wow. We are in the spotlight today. All right. Well, first, thank you to every single person who made this possible, which is a huge team, including our worship team, our Mizmor Shir musicians, and our incredible technical team who made all of this possible. A few quick announcements. Speaking of singing, if you are interested in singing in our volunteer choir for Hanukkah, let Leslie know. Rehearsals start October 27th, so less than 2 weeks. Give her an email or a call. Like Judy mentioned, who I cannot see, but I think I can, Judy will be donating blood on Wednesday, which is fantastic. The Community Blood Center is coming here. We have many spots still open. So you're welcome to let me know or Sharon Altman, and we can take care of you. A few more quick things. Song session is back this Tuesday, multi-access. So you're welcome to come indoors or at home online, and that's Tuesday at 7. And last but not least, if anyone is interested in a fitness running group/small group, let me know. We're gauging interest at the moment. And I hope it's a wonderful weekend. We'll continue with our service, but thank you very much to Robert and Janet Bloom for sponsoring our to-go egg tonight in honor of their 40th wedding anniversary on October 11th. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. So now it's time for our third piece, our Beit Tefillah, our time when we are sharing words of a particular tefillah. And I want us, let's go back to the beginning. Lecha dodi. Well, that has become actually our tradition now to begin our Erev Shabbat services singing Mordechai Zera's setting of the refrain of the poem Lecha dodi, come my beloved to greet the bride. And although most of us think of Lecha dodi as an integral part of welcoming Shabbat, it's really very new. It only started in the 16th century. I mean, that's like yesterday. Yes. And it was not always welcomed at Reformed congregations. In My People's Prayer Book, David Ellenson writes, the patent mysticism of Lecha Dodi was anathema to early Reformed rationalists. So was it blatant imagery of a desolate Jerusalem awaiting redemptive restoration at the hands of a personal Messiah. As a result, the pioneering Hamburg Temple Prayer Book of 1819, there's a quiz after this, replaced Lecha Dodi with a creative composition in German. So most 19th century liberal prayer books authors follow suit in one way or another. So for about 150 years, the full version of this prayer was not part of any Reformed liturgy. The full version was restored to American Reformed liturgy with its 1975 Gates of Prayer. It's amazing what time and our personal sense of what really belongs and what does not can do to what we call traditional. So, despite the ambivalent relationship that our movement has had with Jewish mysticism, with the Kabbalat Shabbat and Lecha Dodi in particular, which are exhibit A of mysticism, here we are spending one Erev Shabbat under the stars dedicated to the many musical versions of Lecha Dodi. Tonight, we would like to take a deeper look at this prayer and focus on our Beit Tfilah program on some of these melodies.
When we were planning for tonight, I decided to do a quick count of Lecha Dodi melodies. I found 20 in one book alone, and that doesn't account for anything written in the last 20 years or so. And here at Beth Torah, we already have about a half a dozen in our repertoire. That's where I stopped counting. Don't worry, we're not going to sing all of them tonight. But we are going to ask why. What makes this song so enticing to composers? Why do we write so many melodies? The simplest answer is because we can. This song sits at a perfect convergence of inspiration and opportunity. Lecha Dodi is a mystical piyut, a liturgical poem, and falls in a part of our service that has no halachic proscriptions. So that makes it fair game. And since we sing it every week, the words are familiar enough that we can introduce new melodies without too much difficulty. Thus, great opportunity. And as for inspiration, every week we sit together in liminal time and space, singing as a community, welcoming Shabbat together. Doesn't get much more inspiring than that. And so this evening we're going to share 5 of our favorite melodies with you. And we're going to use the same verse for each one so that you can all sing along if you like.
The poem consists of 9 stanzas. The initial letters of the first 8 stanzas acrostically form the name of the author, Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz, a Safed Kabbalist of the early 16th century. The opening line of the refrain is, "Come, my beloved, to meet the bride. Let us welcome the presence of Shabbat." Dr. Elisa Gray teaches, quote, "The opening line of Lecha Dodi is reminiscent of Rabbi Hanina's practice of wrapping himself in his cloak close to sunset on Friday and saying, 'Come, let us go out to greet the Shabbat queen.'" And I was hoping so much that we could do this outdoor today. We kind of were outdoors. We didn't run anywhere, but we could have. The Safed Kabbalists used to go on Friday afternoons into the fields to meet the Queen Sabbath in meditation and song. And so we begin with perhaps the most well-known Lecha Dodi. The composer has been lost to time, and it's simply attributed as Sephardic, which frankly could mean anything when it comes to Jewish music. The melody is the very first I've ever heard some 40 years ago in Argentina. My educated guess is that this is an Israeli melody, and in Israel, music that does not sound like klezmer music is just called Sephardic, meaning not from a shtetl. But that's just my guess. Most of the melodies I encountered in Argentina came from whatever was popular in the conservative movement in the 1950s and 60s. In any event, I'm sure you'll be able to sing along.
לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ושמו תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Our next melody was made popular by Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach. Carlebach's songs were characterized by relatively short melodies and traditional lyrics. His catchy new tunes were easy to learn and became part of the prayer services in many synagogues around the world. The melody we're bringing to you this evening expresses to me a particular kind of Hasidic rapture. Carlebach was not a professionally trained musician, so a lot of the melodies that we identify as Carlebach are more often attributed to a nigun he might have sung, one of those wordless melodies that we start services with. Those who were around Reb Shlomo know that he was a gifted performer and exuded nigunim. And a nigun once inspired this version of Lecha Dodi. And to me, it's not that get up and dance kind of tune that we often associate with Hasidic melodies, but instead offers a gentle, soulful approach to the prayer. Lecha Dodi, ay, 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 likrat kala. That makes me feel we should be on the fields with a medurah, with a big fire pit or something. Loi, doi, doi. Now, if you ever get a chance to visit Kol HaNeshama, a synagogue, a Reformed congregation in Jerusalem, you are in for a treat. When I first arrived in Jerusalem in 1993, I kept hearing about this place, mostly from my classmates at the Hebrew Union College, who absolutely loved it. It was not very long until I was able to visit. You got to get there early if you wanted a seat. It was quite the mechaye, as they say in Yiddish, quite the experience. The rabbi would sit on the bima with a darbuka, one of those drums, between his legs, and led the congregation in singing this melody of Lecha Dodi. It started slowly, softly, but it built up until people were standing, all of us, clapping, singing at the top of our lungs.
It took over 10 minutes to sing the whole thing, maybe even longer, 20. It was a long time.
We're not going to do that tonight.
But who cares? You were in Jerusalem, maybe for the very first time in your life, welcoming Shabbat. There's nothing like it, believe me. Again, we don't know who wrote the melody. It's lost to time or memory. This particular melody is a nice middle-of-the-road version. In musical parlance, it would be an andante, a walking tempo, more upbeat than some, less gently rocking than others. But if you ever hear it at Kol HaNeshama, it may change how you hear this melody, and you may think, like many already do, that this is just the perfect Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yala 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yala 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 pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Shamor וזכור דיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ותפארת בלי תהילה. Here we go.
לך דודי לקראת קלה יאללה 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 פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה יאללה 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 פני שבת נקבלה. I can guarantee you, we do that for 10 minutes, nobody's going to be
cold anymore. Our penultimate melody is a collaboration between contemporary Jewish composer Craig Taubman and cantor Alberto Mizrahi. Whether you realize it or not, you all are already familiar with a Craig Taubman tune. Lecha lecha dodi likrat likrat kala b'nei pnei Shabbat nekabela. We do that a lot here. I find Craig Taubman very sing-alongable. He does really great congregational songs. And this setting that we're about to do is another upbeat version that expresses ecstatic joy and fun, which makes sense when you discover how it came about. Cantor Mizrahi was sitting in a Greek restaurant one evening with, among others, Craig Taubman. And they were eating and drinking and listening to the music that was playing in the background. And there was a melody that just stuck in Mizrahi's head. So he called up Taubman and said, hey, help me write a Lecha Dodi to this melody. Now, Rabbi Katapan discovered this melody, as many of us discovered our favorite music, looking for something else on YouTube. He fell in love with it, and so, of course, came to me and asked me if I knew it, which is rabbi code for, hey, I want you to learn this song. When can we do it? One day we were practicing it in preparation for Shabbat services, and he said, if only we had castanets. You should have seen his eyes light up when Larry Meyer, our own president, said, I can make that happen.
Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
שמוע וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ותפארת בלי תהילה.
Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. So you don't know that that's code, in the Sephardic world, that's when you dance. Lecha
Yes.
dodi. That's how it goes. Now we're going to end this evening with Leslie's version of Lecha Dodi. Zucker adds her voice to the many versions by contemporary composers, writing a new melody for a prayer so popular as it has a good chance then to being sang, right? Zucker writes, quote,
It seemed like such a good idea at the time.
The melody came first. I was sitting with my guitar, noodling, as I often do when I'm waiting to start something, and this melody started to emerge. And before I knew it, I was singing, Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela, and that was that. I tried to come up with other words, but this melody wanted that prayer. This is a come gently into Shabbat version. The melody is gentle like many nigunim, but not in a Hasidic style, almost a lullaby, inviting us, even as we welcome the Sabbath bride, to lay aside our cares, take a deep breath, and soften into Shabbat. We have come to the end of our Beit Tfilah. We do want to spend maybe 3, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, because we want to see if you have any questions or anything you want us that we didn't address or something. The same at home. We used to do this, and we used to have lively conversations, and we kind of miss that. So if anything that you would like to ask, you can shout them out because we can see you. We cannot see you, but or if anybody at home has a question, we're glad to answer.
Questions about Lecha Dodi?
Lecha Dodi, yes, thank you.
Just to lay that out there. Look, I know some of you. Yes, yes, yes. There's 9 verses, and we tend to sing 4. Yes.
Okay, I know the answer.
Yeah.
Well, the answer is.
Yeah, we'll repeat the question.
I'm sorry.
We tend to sing the same 4 verses, and almost any Reform congregation that you go to sings the same 4 verses of Lecha Dodi. Shmor v'Zachor, Likrat Shabbat, Hitol Hari, and Boi v'Shalom.
Right.
1, 2, 5, and 9.
So the reason is it's a long reason, but it's a simple reason.
Good question.
And it is. At the very beginning, I mentioned that for 150 years, the entire Lecha Dodi was absent from every Reform prayer book. That what I didn't say is that not the entire poem. The entire poem, all 9 stanzas were absent. But in the mid-40s, we got back some of the stanzas, and those are the ones that we got back.
Mm-hmm.
And they're based on a prayer book by Abraham Geiger, who was a leader of the reform or the progressive movement in Europe at the turn of the century. And the reason why they took out the other ones is because they are messianic. And so you had the mysticism on one point and the messianism on the other. We were just learning this together.
Yeah.
We were doing a search on YouTube and encountered this Syrian rabbi, of all people, who was saying that in some places in Syria in the 16th and 17th century, they also took out those stanzas because this was after the movement of Shabbatai Tzvi, the false Messiah. So they didn't want to sing anything that talks about the Messiah, just in case, so they took them out. So that's why you got those. Now here we've been changing because we've been just breaking rules on Lejado Di, and been singing a lot of we've been singing 1, 3, 5, 7, 9.
We were by ourselves
because.
for a really long time.
So, but as I said in other places, and of course in Kol HaNeshama, they sing all of them, and sometimes they repeat the last one, which
Makes
it
it
for a
even
little
longer.
Right. So
Excellent
great question. But that is the answer. There is a reason we object, or the Reform movement and other movements, not just the Reform, objected to some of those stanzas that were too messianic. Anybody else?
Anybody online?
All right, thank you. All right. Okay, let's do my favorite one more time. If you want, stand and sing with us, so you warm up. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Shemor v'zachor b'dibbur echad, hishmi'anu el am echad, Adonai echad, Shemo echad, Hashem el tifaret v'litila
Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Be
Take
well.
care
It's
of each
great to
other out
see
there.
you.
Thank you for sticking it out with us in the cold. It's so lovely out here. Yay!